Togo, a small speck of a country in the southwest region of Africa. My country is one of contradictions, where exuberant cities and exotic Ferraris manage to coexist, all embraced by the lush green backdrop of the land. The echoing crescendo of a lion's roar is a sound that commands the spectating eye, compels the wandering ear. Tourists are drawn to the cities of Togo for these sights, as well as enchanted talismans, spread out in dazzling arrays of red, green, blue, black, pendants that promise love and prosperity. Yet what often fails to be plastered on YouTube blogs and suspended on Instagram pages is the culture and custom of these places. You see, in Togo, we did things a little differently. In Togo, the names of individuals are not decided by their parents, but rather which day in the week they were born. I was born on Saturday and consequently was named Komi, which also means that somewhere in Togo, there are about 100 versions of me running around. A thought that is heartwarming and terrifying at the same time. However, despite the simplicity of my name, my life experiences have been uncommon, bordering on the edge of impossible. Good morning, Pomfret. My name is Komi Alasse, and I'm a four-year senior here on the Hilltop. My family did not get to America conventionally. They had no relatives to talk to, no connections to work with. We didn't buy visas for ourselves, and we certainly did not swim across the Atlantic Ocean to wash up on the Jersey Shore. We won the lottery. We were roughly one out of 100,000 people in our country to win. A 0.001% chance. However, it wasn't anything like the Mega Millions or Powerball you might be familiar with. It did not signify the prospect of winning a fortune. It did not foretell the possibility of being debt-free and in anticipation of dream houses, nice cars, dollar bills on dollar bills. This lottery offered us all American visas. Everything else we had to pay for ourselves. It might sound pretty lousy, but I remember the day my dad won it. I watched him barge into the living room, wiping tears from his eyes, kissing my mother and grabbing my brother and I and lifting us up into the air. It was pure joy. The lottery had no monetary value, but it wasn't about that. What it extended to us was something intangible, a ticket of hope and a promise of a better future. The cost for one plane ticket to the US was $12,000, and since there were four of us at the time, we had to amass $4,800 seemingly out of thin air, not to mention the cost of the visas. We didn't have that kind of money and made the radical decision to sell our livelihood. Two and a half acres of farmland for $2,000. And despite my mother vehemently protesting, in 2004, my father boarded the plane and arrived at John F. Kennedy International Airport in Queens. His idea was to work in America in order to earn enough money to bring us here. And so there he was, in a country whose language he couldn't speak, where he had nothing, knew no one, and without his wife and two sons at his side. Still to this day, I thank my father for his sacrifice and his willingness to face the obscure future with an unmatched courage. I thank my mother for her love and compassion and her willingness to travel across the world with two obnoxious young boys. Upon winning the lottery, we had 6 months before our visas expired. And for 6 months, my dad toiled away in New York, working odd jobs at retail stores and old warehouses, sleeping on friends' couches, park benches, and living room floors with only a blanket to cover him. My father recounts numerous nights staring upwards at the towering skyscrapers in Midtown, where he felt like giving up, as the vision he set out for himself became increasingly blurred and distorted. And then he remembered his family, and somehow that always managed to bring him back. On November 30th, 2003, the day before our visas expired, my father managed to send enough money to get us all on the plane to JFK Airport. From there, we made a living in New York for a while before eventually settling in New Jersey. So let's recap a little. Winning 1 out of 100,000 odds, coupled with making some risky decisions and evading a deadline by the skin of our teeth, has led me standing here in front of you today. Surely, a culmination of coincidences and, frankly, dumb luck permeates my life story. Albeit, it is not the experience, but rather the thought that accompanies it that makes the moment significant to me. We let go of our belongings and abandoned a life we knew for one that was shrouded in uncertainty. And that was difficult for my family and I. Yet this moment showed us the intangibles, the things we had that could not be taken away. Qualities like resilience, faith, and grit that ushered my family through hard times. And while the next chapter of my life will introduce a new series of challenges and adversity, I can almost sigh in relief in knowing that none of our possessions were the vehicles that drove our family through these 14 years. It was our intangibles that did. If you take anything from my talk, I want you to know that whatever your circumstances may be, whatever you may be going through, whatever may be afflicting you right now, those hard times will come to pass. And what will take their place will be the lessons and strength you inherited from them. You are bigger than your struggle. Thank you for listening.